Hey guys, it's Brendo ST, and today I'm going to be doing something a little different. I'm not going to be working on a performance mod, but I am going to be working on upgrading my audio system here a little bit. If you can see right here, this is a custom box me and my father built, and it is meant to fit. Where'd my flashlight go? I'll show you. What did I do with it? Oh, I lost it already. Oh, there it is. It is meant to go in place of that foam insert under the trunk panel. And I got this subwoofer. It's going to go right in there. And you got a little porthole for air. Now I don't know much about airflow and subwoofer boxes and volume and all that stuff, so if it's obviously wrong, don't flame on it because of it, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying to make a square that fit. So, I'll show you what I got here. This subwoofer I pulled out of a junkyard. Came out of a late gen Eclipse, and it is a stock subwoofer in their car. It's a Rockford Fosgate, 1 ohm, 75 watt. I know it doesn't seem like a lot. I'm not trying to create like heavy bass where it's going to shake my windows and everything. It's just, I have an ST1 and the stock speakers just don't provide the deep bass. So even if this is a light, non-powerful sub, a little bit more won't hurt. It's a dual voice coil sub, so I got it set up in a bridged mode, and when I connect these, it's going to go to 2 ohm. The amp I'm using, I found online. It's an adorable little thing. It says Alpine KTP 190U. It is a 1 ohm amp for 90 watts RMS, and if you run at 2 ohm, it is 60 watts. This thing's tiny. Comes with a little connector. You can change your low pass. And there's also a remote wire, but that doesn't come with it. Comes with this little wiring harness. And you splice it right into your main system. It even says just splice it into the power in the back of the radio. You don't need a separate line to the battery. So I think this will run perfectly with this subwoofer. So what I'm going to do is I have to figure out how to get to the back of my radio here. I've never done it in this car. Let me get this off the seat. I'll get in here and we'll take a look at what we got to do. So, get in here, remove this out of the way. Alright, so here's the radio, and from what I've seen online, all you really got to do is pull this thing out, which will reveal 2 bolts, and can't exactly get that. I'll have to get a screwdriver to help pry it. So let's see here. Small flathead screwdriver, and hopefully be able to pry that out so I can get behind it and wire this amp up. And that's just step 1. The next part, if I get this out of here without breaking shit. See, I don't know if it comes. Ooh, I guess it does come off like that. Right. Let me get the other side. Alright guys, we've got that out. A little tab here disconnects the wiring to that airbag sensor. You got 2 T25 Torx right here. Actually, is this part of the radio or is this part of the, I'm sorry, these 2, which are also T25. Not the ones, not those ones. Two up here, I think, are part of the radio. So, let me get these both out. Well, I got it out. It takes a lot of force, and I wasn't expecting it to suddenly just eject itself. As I was tugging on it a little bit, and it just kind of exploded. So yeah. That's what fell. Okay. Just radar detector. So, that was pretty so. What the fuck was this attached to? I hope they didn't break nothing. Well, thank God that unattached itself. Alright. So, this is our radio, I'm guessing. This block. It's actually the CD player, but I'm assuming the wiring to the radio is attached to it. Which seems really crazy stiff. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to do anything with that? I have to splice into that somehow? I don't know about that. Well, I'm gonna take this out, which is also T25 Torx. Yep. I'm gonna take this thing out and see what I gotta do behind this. Alright guys, I pulled her out and okay, we got a lot more wire to work with here. I was a little nervous because I thought it was one of these in the back, which don't really move. They're part of that big wiring harness, but these ones are much more movable, much more pliable. So, I am going to look up a quick diagram, because I'm not sure what color goes to what on this thing. And I'll be able to begin splicing in. But first, before I actually do start splicing in, I need to figure out, one, where I can place this amp. I mean, it looks like there's a lot of room in there, but I kind of wanted to be able to access it. And I was thinking of putting it under the glove box. But I have to be able to get wires ran down into the trunk. Only 2 of them, but still. I mean, if I set it up where I just throw it in here and just kind of stick it in the bottom of this, which would work, although I won't have to be able to adjust that low pass. I'd have to make all my modifications before I put this back together. So if I want to adjust that down the line, I'd have to take the whole thing apart. But at the same time, once it's set, normally you shouldn't have to readjust that. There's no boost gain or anything like that, so I should be able to just stick it in here somewhere. But like I said, I have to find a way to get the wires down to the trunk. And I kind of wanted to go under the floor so it's nice and hidden, but at the same time, I don't want to take the whole freaking car apart just to get to that. It's a lot different from all the old cars I used to work on. There used to be screws visible right along this panel. Now everything just kind of clips in, and you break half the clips doing it. So I'm going to look up these wires and figure out where I need to go from here. Alright guys, as you can see, I haven't exactly spliced the wires in yet, but I have found a way to run it. So, there's this little opening there when you open your glove box. If you look in here, it actually comes out right there. You can actually see it with your finger. It was actually really easy to get to that point. I stupidly have to get these wires in there, and they're attached to speaker wires to go to the back. So I have to run all that through there. And I'm not going to keep this in the glove box, but what I might end up doing is putting it under the dash here. Again, either behind that or right up in there. But at least the wiring is over here now, so I can get to it. Actually, as I keep thinking about it, the wire's not that long, right? That's about all the length you got. So I could still go with my original plan and hide it in here, just keep the amp in there. Although I don't know how hot it's going to get. It shouldn't get too warm. Maybe put it in there, connect it all in there, and at least I have a hole to run the speaker wire down. But I did find out, sort of, what wires I need to deal with here. How did this get? Okay. Depends on which ones you want to run with. Anything that's a white wire with a stripe is a front speaker, and anything with these brown, except for this one to the right here, I think, should be the brown and the blue, I think. I was looking at it on my phone, which I actually use to record these videos, so I can't look at it right at this second. But I will re-look it up and make sure I'm going with the right ones. I'm probably going to splice it into the front speakers. There's really no difference, I'm assuming. So all I got to do now is I'm going to cut back this sheathing a little bit so I can access the wires a little easier. And I don't like using them, but in this, I probably don't have a better way to do it, is these things. If I can get to them. I'm dropping it. These stupid things. I don't like using them, but I'm gonna try it out. As long as I can crimp it good enough. And I already tinned all my wires. So you can see, I actually took a soldering iron and tinned them up pretty good so they would probably catch a little bit better. So I'm gonna go ahead, cut this back, and see what I'm working with here. Alrighty guys, we're gonna be working with these white wires. So you got plain white, which is your left front positive, and the white brown is your left front negative, and the violet would be your left front positive, orange being your left front negative. This is for a 16 Focus ST. I don't know if it's different for 13, 14, or 15, but this is what we got now. So I gotta splice into those. I'll be able to connect those up. The other thing I have to work on is figuring out where our positive wire, or our power, I don't know if it's this big sucker, and this one being the negative. I'll have to figure that out, because we'll have to splice into those as well. Normally, negative, you can just ground it somewhere, but in here I don't see any metal, and I don't even know if that goes to metal. It might just be a plastic screw. So I'm gonna have to run this off of the power on the wiring, or off the ground on the wiring. Alright, I'm gonna start splicing these up and using these stupid ass connectors to try to connect them. Alright guys, we got 2 of them installed already. And I mean, I don't like these, but I think these are holding for now. I crimped them down pretty hardcore. I'm hoping they hold. I'm tugging on the wires, they don't seem to let go or give it all. It just really depends on how good the connection is, but I made sure I crimped up. I got these nice wire splitters that actually split the wire from in between, so you don't actually need the it doesn't strip it from the end, it strips it from the middle. So I'm able to strip a little bit back, and then I have a connection on that. So I'm going to get to the other half of this, which would be the white and the white brown, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, we got everything spliced in that we need to splice in. I'm going to connect, I'm not going to put everything back together, but I'm going to connect everything real quick and make sure we have power going to the subwoofer, or else I'm going to have to double check these stupid connectors. So I'm just going to connect these all up, connect that faceplate, because I'm sure you need that to power the radio. And then we're going to check and make sure, why isn't this focusing? There we go. We're going to check to make sure everything's powered, and if it is, then we can start cleaning up and running wires where we need to run them. Alright. Let's try turning this on real quick. I did get cut out there for a second, guys. Turns out when my cartridge on the Bluetooth on my phone stops recording. But the good news is it does work. It was actually shaking enough to knock it down. It's not as loud as I thought it was going to be, which, I mean, 60 watts, I kind of suspected it wouldn't be. But it does provide a little extra kick to the vehicle. So, now that I know it works, I kind of wanted to try to see, I don't even know if you can because I've never attempted it. I don't know much about dual voice coil subwoofers. If I can just connect to one side, and that would be the full 90 ohm that amp can put out, but it might be too much for the sub and it might start clipping because the sub's only rated at 75. I don't know if it specifically draws what it needs or if it would be too much for it. And in fact, you know what, I'll just leave it the way it is. What I got to do now is I got to start figuring out where I'm going to put everything. I got to figure out where I'm going to run my wiring here. Right now I just got it right over the seat. Obviously not going to keep it like that. Figure out where I need to run this wiring to get it from here to the back, nice and hidden. And then kind of assemble everything. And that's it. I'll figure out what I want to do everything here, and I'll get back to you. Next step here. Alrighty, guys. You see, we ran my wire. These panels actually pop right out. There's no screws holding them in. You just gotta get your hand under this and pry up, and each one will pop out. This one I didn't pop out. This one I just kind of went around the carpet. This one in the back pops out from here, and then it attaches to both of these as well. And it's in place already. And we ran it up right through the seat, right into the back. And it looks like it was just enough to make it all the way back here. So, speaker wire part's done. Now I just want to put this back together. Figure out where I want to put that amp. Vape. Not mine, my cousin was looking at this. But now we gotta figure out where I wanna mount the amp. If I wanna stick it up here like I was thinking. If this wire is long enough I can do that. If not, I'll have to go a different route. We'll find out. Alright guys, we have enough. So this is where we're mounting it. I'm gonna put it underneath the panel that comes right here. Either underneath it or on top. Probably underneath it, hide the wires better. I'm just going to put this panel back in where it goes. And then I just slap it in there. I might put a few screws in it right in front of the fuse box there. That's really just a piece of foam here. But that's it. I don't think there's enough room there. Let's find out. We got enough room. So this in there. Looks good to me. Definitely. I'm just gonna put 2 screws in here, or 4 screws, or whatever. It's probably not gonna screw in because it's foam, but something to kind of just help it stay secure, you know. And then we'll get to the box installation and wiring up the sub finally for the last time. Alright guys, we have, ow, just hit my head on my dash, but I've got this just slapped in here. These, they're tiny little screws and they're kind of not really holding anything together, but I'm going to plug this in. I've got it low pass frequency set to 100. If I need to adjust it, I can. This panel's easy enough to get to, and I can just swap the switch. But for now, I'm going to plug this in, put this up. I'm going to put my side panels back in here, and then start reassembling the radio. And then we'll get to the back and connect everything else. Alrighty guys, front's all assembled and we are now in the back about to work on our wiring. Now, so what I need to do today, or now, because I didn't do it prior, is I need to drill my little pilot holes in this round piece so I can stick the sub in there. We'll mount it, but first I need to get the wires in here, so I have to put this in the car. Now, I test fit this earlier. It does fit perfectly in here. And that's it, right? Look at that. It's like it was meant to be. Although, I don't know if you noticed it, this is a little higher than that. The rest of it's perfect height, but this extra bit here, a little taller. So if you put the board back down in the trunk here, it's off a little bit, but it's nothing to be worried about. I did have this grate that came with the sub, which I threw on the top there, but now I might not do it because that increases the height even a little more, which I don't think it's too much of a concern. I don't think that shit's gonna get into this thing. But now we have to run our wiring here. I made a little pilot hole in the back and the inside. Those are in. I'm going to put some ends on this real quick, and then we'll get this all connected together. Well guys, just for the hell of it, I put the grate on anyway. So that's all sealed in there. You can see the rough cut that we did. It's nowhere close to needing to be a professional job. We just kind of made it off of, the only template we went by was the other foam piece. But that's in. It's all set up. It's ready to go. I'd play some music for you, but you know, copyright crap. And the only thing is, you're not gonna tell by a cell phone. You're gonna have to go from my word for it. It's not loud, nowhere near loud, but it does add a little bit more depth to a crap system. Let's just say that. The door speakers are stock. It's an ST1. If you guys have that particular car, you know what it sounds like. This is by no means a permanent solution. It's just a little more, I don't even want to say volume. It's not loud. It's not loud at all, but it adds just that little extra sound that I was looking for originally in the stock speakers. Now I did go ahead and order those Infinity Primus speakers. There's another YouTuber that has STs, and he's recommended those speakers. So I ordered those up. They should be here tomorrow. And I ordered 2 sets. I ordered ones for both doors, and we'll install those a different date. And honestly, if they're going to be a little bit louder like I'm thinking they're going to be, they might even negate this completely, this whole build. But it was an interesting project. This is my first time really working with carpentry. I never really did any of it. Have to thank my father for helping me with that one. But that's it, guys. Quick little, well, not quick, but a little install video to show you how to put a hidden sub box enclosure and amplifier into your car. Thanks for watching.